Welcome back to Small Arms Firearms. Today we go over red dots, more affordable ones and some high-end ones to see which one might work best for you. So I'm going to try and go through these dots pretty quick. We have a total of 12 to get through, and I'm going to start with what we considered kind of the lower end of the spectrum. The scoring system is going to be based off of a few different areas. So the glass is going to be kind of your clarity, your tint, your coating, the reticle, and just the options you have with that reticle. The dot clarity, is it a big old starburst? Is it nice, crisp, and clean? That can probably be part of the glass too. Durability is going to be more of the warranty side of things. I don't have enough money to sit here and destroy red dots because I want to brutally test them to see how durable they are. There's plenty of videos online about people torture testing these things. We're not going to do that here, but for the durability, it's going to be more of like your warranty. So we're going to score kind of based on the warranty behind the red dot and maybe the housing, just kind of how it's built. Does it seem like it's more sturdy? The window size, so that might not matter as much if you're doing like a duty carry kind of dot is what you're looking for, but for competition, window size is a pretty big importance. The battery location and the life of the battery, most of the battery life on these things are going to be about the same. You're going to see anywhere from 20 to like 50,000 hours on like your lower medium settings. The location though can be a big difference. Do you have to remove the dot to get the battery out? The button and or buttons, are they tactile? Are they too tiny to really touch them? Are they easy to find? Are they easy to locate? Do you have to look at it? Can you just kind of touch them almost like it's braille on them to really know which button does what? Windage, elevation, and adjustment, that is going to be on the ease of being able to do that. Do you need a special tool for it? Is it hard to turn? Does it have a tactile click so you know you're adjusting in those whatever increment it has for you? Then the mounting and the footprint or any issues with mounting it. I prefer personally just everything RMR, RMSC. So I'm not going to dock it for having a different footprint, but certain ones aren't as easy to mount depending on how they're done. Then price and value. So that's a tough one to really say, but we're going to score them, and all these points categories are in a score from 1 to 10, and then we'll total them up. Let's get going. So the Burris Fast Fire 3 comes in 12th place. The glass on it's okay, 7 out of 10 points. I'm going to be going through this pretty quick so we can get going. The reticle and the options is kind of a downfall in this one. It has just the one dot, and it only has three levels of brightness and a fourth setting, which is the auto brightness, which I never use unless I'm outside because it's terrible when it's picking up that sensor and it's changing the dot brightness, and it's just absolutely obnoxious. So it's usually, if I'm zeroing it, it's on the lowest setting. If I'm using it normally, it's in the middle setting. If it's out in bright sun, it's on the one high setting. So it gets only 5 points out of 10 on the reticle and the option. Dot clarity, not that great. It's fuzzy. It just isn't a very crisp dot on the reticle. It also gets 5 points out of 10 for the dot clarity. Durability on this, it's an aluminum housing. I don't have it with me in my hands right now, but it just feels kind of cheap. On the durability warranty on the Burris Fast Fire 3, I don't know how long I could trust this thing to really hold up to consistent use, especially on a slide if it's reciprocating. I don't know if I could trust it, especially considering the warranty even says from Burris they can reject any warranty claims from purchasers or products that are purchased from any unauthorized retailer, which means if you just buy it online new and that's not a Burris dealer, I guess, they can just say, nope, you don't get any warranty claims. So that's kind of shady. So I'm not really sure. They get a 6 out of 10 on the durability. The window size, out of all of them we measured, is pretty small. So it gets a 5 out of 10 on that, especially considering I can only see using this for like a rail mounted dot. And that's going to be like your competition guns, usually. Don't get me wrong, ARs, that's how you use dots too, but it's still tiny, and I just don't like the window size. It's 5 out of 10. Battery location and the life of the battery. Battery lasts a long time, easy to change the battery, don't have to take the optic off. It gets 8 out of 10. The overall size of the whole thing, and does it sit low enough to co-witness? Slightly. It does have some lines on the back of it to kind of help you co-witness. But there are other options out there that do it better. 6 out of 10. The button on it sucks. So the button on the side of this thing is very small, and it's really hard to get your finger in there to even click it when you're just trying to adjust it, not really actively shooting at all. Didn't like the button at all. It's not very tactile. It's kind of mushy. It gets 4 out of 10 on the button. This also doesn't have shake awake, which I think would be a feature that would be nice for it. I guess in the price range, it's not an option they can do, but like I said, I got this one for free in just a grab goodie bag at a match one day. The footprint and mounting it, it does have the Vortex Venom footprint. You can buy pick rails and other plates that come with it. It's easy to mount. There's no real complication to it. It gets 10 out of 10 on the mounting. The price and the value, so it's $173 what I can find filming the video currently. And that's not bad. For $163 and some change, you can get a dot that's gonna work great on rimfire. It's been working really well for me on my Ruger 1022. So for that price, I think you're above average. Do I think there's other options in this list that are going to be better than that? Yeah, that's why it's 12th place. So it gets 6 out of 10. With a grand total of 67 out of 110 points, there's 11 categories. That puts the Burris Fastfire 3 in 12th place. Next up is the Delta Point Pro in 11th place. I know these things are renowned for being high quality dots. Actually, it was one of the first dots I ever bought for my M&P2O. I liked it, but there's just a few things on the dot that at this point, I will probably never buy one of them unless they redesign like the whole thing. For the glass, the clarity, the tint, the coating, it looked great. It got 8 out of 10 on the glass. The reticle and the options you have, it does have quite a few different brightness settings. So the reticle and options, it's just one dot, multiple levels of brightness. I think it does well for that kind of option level, considering how many dots, that's all they do. But it gets 7 out of 10 because it does have a lot of brightness settings that you can utilize. The dot clarity, I will give it this. Leupold does make a great dot. It's way above average. It gets an 8 out of 10 on the clarity of the dot. Durability. So this is more your competition optic. I feel like I wouldn't feel as comfortable using this as a duty kind of carry optic. It only carries a 2-year warranty. And I'm not going to try and destroy them either because the one we tested today wasn't mine. I have sold mine since. As for window size, the window size comes in at 0.697 square inches, which is really only bigger than the RMR and other carry dots. So for competition, it doesn't make sense for me. For duty, it doesn't make sense for me. So for window size, since it is bigger than some other ones, but still not as big as I would like it to be.
That's exactly what you said.
It gets an 8 out of 10. So for the battery life, location's not bad. It's on top. It's easy to do, easy to change out. But the life on it's only 1,600 hours. So for a competition dot, yeah, that's not too bad. You can just change it when you need to, but it's still only 1,600 hours compared to the other ones that are like 50,000. And that's at the lowest setting. So it only gets a 6 out of 10 on the battery life. Co-witness, kind of overall size of it, it does sit fairly low. More in the middle of the pack for that. Gets 6 out of 10 for the overall size and co-witness. The button. So this is a big gripe I have with the Delta Point Pro. The button is literally in between the emitter and the glass, like right here. So when you go to push the button to change your dot brightness, since it goes up a lot of different brightness settings, it'll go all the way to the top and it goes all the way back down. There's only one button. So you're pushing it and you're trying to figure out where's the highest setting, and then you push it 1 times too many and it goes back down now. And when you're pushing the button, it blocks the emitter so you can't see if you're going up or down. It is absolutely infuriating. It's so hard to get it to the setting you want because you're just constantly fiddling with it. I can't stand that. So it gets 3 out of 10 on its button design. Windage elevation adjustment, it works great. Very tactile, easy to do, 9 out of 10. Mounting, no real issues mounting. The footprint though is that Delta Point footprint, which you can find plates for it. Most pistols, you can get a plate for it to work. I would just prefer a different one that's more universal. It still works. It's above average. It's not hard to mount. 7 out of 10. Now the price and value, this is where it kills me because this dot is what I can find it for, $350. For $350, your world opens up dramatically. And in that price range, do I feel like this has good value? No, not really. Do I still think it's a decent dot quality, clarity, it holds 0? Yeah, it does. It has the Leupold name behind it, but their warranty doesn't really say it does with only 2 years. And the fact that it's so hard to just use it, the functionality of it, I mean, at least it has shake awake, but it's gonna get a 4 out of 10 on the price value. So with a total score of 73 out of 110, the Delta Point Pro is in 11th place. Next up is the Vector Optics, the Frenzy. This thing surprised me. The glass clarity and the tint, it was right on with all of the high-end Trijicons or anything else you would consider high-end, like Acros. And it gets a 9 out of 10 on the glass quality and clarity. The reticle and options, no, there's not really a whole lot of options. It doesn't have as many brightness settings as some other ones, but still above average compared to the other any other optic that is more budget oriented. It gets 7 out of 10 on the reticle options. The dot clarity looked great. It was a nice crisp dot. It wasn't sunbursting or flaring out anyway. It gets 8 out of 10. Now, durability, really the warranty, it's going to get a 6 out of 10 on that, just because of the warranty is not lifetime, really. It'll say lifetime. When you look at it, you're thinking you're getting a great lifetime warranty on an optic, but it covers none of the electronics. And really, if something's gonna fail, it's the electronics. Yes, you can probably drop it and break the glass here and there, but it's usually the electronics that'll fail over time. So it gets, on durability, a 6 out of 10. Window size is what blew me away on this one. That Frenzy has a window actually bigger than an SRO, and it comes in at 0.88 square inches. So it's really high on the list. It's not the biggest, but it's still great. It's a bigger window than the Seymour RTS2. Now, this is the RTS2, not the RTS3 that just came out, so I'll have to compare those later. So it gets a 9 out of 10 on window size. It was fantastic, great for competition, not your duty style dot, but it worked fantastic for us. The battery location and the life on the battery weren't near as good as the other ones. You have to take it off to change the battery. 4 out of 10. Being able to co-witness with this, it sits real low, the dot does, on the slide when it's mounted, so it gets 9 out of 10. It's much easier to co-witness with this dot. The buttons on this were fantastic. They were tactile, easy to find, easy to press. It is one of the better ones for just being able to adjust the brightness and the settings on it. 9 out of 10 on the buttons. Windage and elevation was kind of a joke for this one, because it's like a special tool you have to do it with. It's not necessarily a special tool, but like, I want to be able to change the windage and elevation with either a tiny flathead screwdriver or the rim of a case, something that I'm going to have on me at the range, not tiny ass Allen keys or T-bits. Like, that's just annoying to me. Just make it easier for us to change it. I know we don't do it often, but still, it's a pain in the ass to have to realize you get to the range and you don't have this tiny little thing that it might have came with and you lost it. Just standardize it. It gets 2 out of 10 for that, because it was also horribly not tactile. It was just spinny. I hated it. It sucks adjusting the windage on this thing. The footprint on it's a Vortex Venom. Okay, that's fine. I still like to see it be RMR. I know I complain about that all the time, but it's still a nice system. It mounts easily, 8 out of 10. Now here's where it's gonna win a lot of points because of the price. It's $100. Dots in this price range, I don't expect them to perform as well as this did, have a window that big. I get it, the buttons are great, but the windage and elevation sucks adjusting. It has the Vortex Venom footprint instead of RMR, but it's only $100 and it works fantastic. I would not trust this as a duty dot. This is a competition dot, and if you don't want to spend maybe $400 on a dot because you can't afford it, this works great for $100, 9 out of 10 points. So for the Vector Optics, it's gonna get a 79 out of 110, which puts it in 10th place on our list. Next up is the Sig Romeo 1 Pro. So this is one of the higher end dots, and the glass, the clarity, and the tint on it was fantastic. It was clear, it looked great, 9 out of 10. The reticle and options, it had a decent amount of brightness settings, just the dot. It doesn't have as many options that you can get from the factory like Seymour does, so it gets a 7 out of 10. The dot clarity on it was okay. It wasn't perfect. There are definitely other dots on here that have a better, crisper dot. Like even the Vector Optics dot seemed better to us for our eyes. And I have a slight astigmatism. Steve has a heavier one. So when we were comparing that Sig even to like the cheap $100 Vector, the Vector looks better. That is a dot clarity. So the Romeo 1 Pro gets a 7 out of 10 on dot clarity. Durability, it seems like it's fairly tough. It definitely seems more like a competition optic, so it's not something that they're designing to take fall after fall after fall, or bashing it or getting run over by a truck. But the warranty on it is pretty decent. Per Sig, they say we will repair or replace your Sig in the event it becomes damaged or defective at no charge to you. If we can't repair it, we'll replace it with the product in working order in equal or to better physical condition. So that seems like a pretty good warranty. It's weird that it does strictly call out that this is not rated for 10 millimeter, which is kind of surprising to me. So it doesn't say anywhere on there like 38 supers or 9 major it's not rated for, but I'm thinking in like a competition kind of mind, because that's what this dot's for, really. If it can't handle 10 millimeter, how's it gonna work on an open class gun? I don't know. Maybe you guys know better than me. Comment below if you know why they do that. But so durability with that warranty is gonna get an 8 out of 10. Window size, it's 0.781 square inches. So it's smaller than the SRO, bigger than the Delta Point. It's a great window. It's going to get an 8 out of 10. The battery life on it is pretty standard. Nothing crazy. That 40,000 range. Shake awake is what it has, so that's also nice to save your battery if you forget you left it on. The location's easy to change. You don't have to take the dot off. It gets 8 out of 10. This one sits fairly low for the co-witness ability. Overall size, just kind of like the other ones that they're not huge. It definitely can make it easier to co-witness with it. It gets 8 out of 10 on that. The buttons on it are okay. They're better than average, definitely better than average. I just wish they were a little more tactile and maybe a little easier to kind of manipulate. So for the buttons, it's getting 7 out of 10. The windage adjustment and elevation, tiny little tool you have to use for it. It's not easy. It's not as tactile, clicky as some of the other dots. I really did not like adjusting the windage and elevation on it. It gets 5 out of 10. So there's no real issues in mounting it. It's just the fact that Sig likes to use their kind of proprietary footprints, and I hate that. I just hate that Sig does that in almost all their products, whether that's some of the rails they put on 365s and stuff like that. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Just give me the same footprint universally for basically all red dots. That sucks, but I didn't really have any issues mounting it per se. It's going to get 7 out of 10 on that. The price and the value, this is what hurts it. It's $350 for this dot, and I think it's a good quality dot. I think it has a great warranty. It has a big name behind it. I just don't see how you can justify spending $350 for this thing when the window's smaller than an SRO, smaller than a Holosun comp, and the dot clarity is just not as great as some of the others on this list, and it's more expensive. So for the value, or the price and the value, it gets 5 out of 10, which brings its total to 79 out of 110, tying the Vector Optics, but the Vector Optics is only 100 bucks. Yeah. Up next in 8th place is the Seymour RTS2. This has been a great quality dot for me. I've used it on my rimfire pistol for a long time. The glass on this is great. It gets a 9 out of 10. The tint, the coating, everything, it looks fantastic when I'm using it, whether I'm inside or outside. The reticle and options, I mean, you can pick anything from 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12 MOA dots, but you're stuck with that size. Has decent brightness level settings for I don't ever have any issues outdoors or indoors with seeing the dot. The fact that they give you all those dot options from the factory is awesome, but once you buy it, you're committed to it. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because if you want different dot sizes, you have to buy a whole other unit. Dot clarity, this is probably one of the clearest dots that we have ever seen. Steve and I went through all of these red dots, and this one stood out as one of the best clarity of a dot. 10 out of 10. So the warranty is where it really kicks into play for Seymour being awesome. It's a 30-year no-hassle warranty from the date they made it. Not the date you bought it, the date of manufacturer, but still, that's awesome. That also includes covering the electronics, and it's fully transferable. So if you sell your dot used, you can tell the next person that's buying it, hey, the warranty is good 30 years outside when it was made. Window size on it is 0.879 inches, which makes it bigger than the SRO, but barely. Not like anything you're going to really notice. It's very similar. So everyone has kind of touted the SRO as the go-to dot for competition for how many years, and this one has a bigger window than it, just by a smidge. So it's going to get 9 out of 10 on window size. Battery location and life. So battery's really easy to change. It's just on the side. You just pull the tray out, stick your new battery in, it's good to go. The life, though, on the battery is significantly lower than a lot of other ones. So it's at 5,000 hours depending on the setting you choose. So just keep that in mind. It's more of a competition dot. Co-witness on this is not nearly as easy. It's a fairly taller optic, and especially if you have to put the plate on to mount it to a 1913 reel. So it's going to get 6 out of 10 on the co-witness ability and just kind of like that overall height. The buttons on this are just 2 buttons on the side here, and they adjust the brightness up and down. Surprise! And you hold one to turn it on, you hold one to turn it off. The buttons are kind of squishy. They're hard to push. It's not easy to tell if you actually click the button because it is so mushy. But you get 2 big buttons for up and down. It's easy to see. You know which one you're hitting. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. A little better than average, but still room to be desired. This isn't a cheap dot. So for some of the bigger, like the 10 and the 12 MOA, you're at like $390 for this thing. The smaller, like 3, 6, 8 size, you are about around the $320 range. So it's expensive, but I've been using it for a long time. It's dependable, it works. It's gonna get a 6 out of 10 on the price, because I feel like at that price range, I still think you're better off with like a 507 comp. I've been loving mine. Or some of the other dots on this list that are even cheaper. The windage and elevation adjustment on this require a tiny Allen wrench, and I hate that. And then on top of that, it's not very, it's a little clicky, but sometimes it spins a little. It's just, I don't like adjusting the windage and elevation on this. I just had to do it a few days ago, and it's just not a great system they have for the adjustment. Maybe that's just my sample size on that one, but it's going to get a 4 out of 10 on windage adjustments. The mounting and the footprint, it comes with its own weird mounting system, and you just buy plates to adapt to it. It's definitely not meant to be on like a duty carry gun or anything like that, but I don't have any issues doing it. They make it easy buying it from the site, but still I have to, I don't know. I don't like to pay extra for those kind of mounting systems. It gets 7 out of 10 because it still works really well. The direct mount footprint on this is the Romeo 3 from Sig or the Vortex Racer. With all that, it gets 81 out of 110 points. Great score. I still love mine. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I probably won't jump to get the RTS 3 anytime soon either, because now after doing all these tests, I don't know. I still like my RTS 2, and I don't think the RTS 3 is going to give me that big of a benefit to upgrade anytime soon. And our number 7 position, which is going to get a lot of hate from a lot of people, is the Trijicon SRO. I think anybody in competitive shooting that's done this fairly seriously has owned one or many of these, and people still continue to put these on their firearms, whether that's a range toy or a competitive pistol, and they are great dots. Just gonna lay that out there, they are. The glass and the tint, the clarity, the coating on the glass, it's crystal clear. It does have a little bit of a tint on the edges, but a lot of manufacturers are putting that tint on the glass so the dot doesn't have to be as bright on the window, and to be honest, any kind of normal shooting, you never really notice it, but it's fantastic glass on these. 9 out of 10 points. They really do know how to make the glass. The reticle and options, you only get 2 options. It's either a 2 or a 2.5, I can't really remember, and then a 5. That's it. Decent amount of reticle brightness settings, but no other real options. But it still gives you a couple options. It's better than average. Give it a 7 out of 10 on the options for the reticle. The dot clarity, actually in our testing between all of these dots that we had here on the range, the dot clarity wasn't the best, but it's also definitely better than average. It definitely beats most of them out there for dot clarity, but it's not the best. It really isn't. This is a 5 MOA version we're testing, so maybe the smaller ones have better dot clarity. I'm not sure. We tested these on all brightness settings in direct sunlight and indoor fluorescent light. I will say when you are in direct sunlight and those really, really bright days out on the range, it does get clearer, but we were testing it indoors, highest bright setting to the lowest and everything like that. So it gets an 8 out of 10. It's just, there were better ones, but there were worse ones too. The durability or the warranty is what we're kind of rating here. So on Trijicon, I haven't ever had an issue with my SROs, so maybe somebody in the comments can tell me if they had a good or bad exchange with Trijicon on this one. But free from warranty defects or anything like that for 5 years from the date of manufacture, not 5 years from purchase. But Trijicon does say in their warranty that it will be free from defects and workmanship for the lifetime of the original owner. So I don't know what that 5 years really means for that, but it says if you experience an issue, they want their products to be right. So I'm guessing if you send it to them and say, hey, I bought this whenever, the electronics kind of pooped out, maybe they'll fix it for you for free. I don't know, I've never had to deal with that. But it's also if you're the original owner, so I don't know, that doesn't seem too cool. The other part on the end of the warranty information, it says it does not include or apply to the illumination system. So to me, that's all the electronics. I don't know. I've never had an issue with them, and it seems like most of the time they're willing to help from what I've heard online, but maybe you have firsthand experience. So for the durability warranty, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I haven't had anybody really badmouth them in the past for the SRO specifically. Window size. It's still a big window. but there are 8 other windows on this list that are bigger than the SRO. With that being said though, it's like a taller window. It's not square and short like a lot of the others. It's almost like it ovals up. So I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10 because the dot really does stay in the window very well. Battery location and life. The battery location on this is pretty easy, just on the side. You can change it without removing it. The life is a little lower than some of the other dots. So for the battery location and life, it's gonna get an 8 out of 10. The overall size, like the height of it, can you co-witness very well? It's okay. It's definitely shorter than some other dots out there. There are some that are taller, so it's gonna get a 7 out of 10. The buttons on the SRO aren't the greatest. They are mushy. They're not as easy and tactile as some of the other, but a lot of them actually on the bench that we're testing today. So the button's gonna get a 6 out of 10. Windage elevation adjustment is crisp. It's easy to do. You can even pretty much do it with a 9mm case. It gets a 9 out of 10 on the windage and elevation adjustment. It's tactile, it's easy to adjust. I love the adjustment on this. The price and the value is where it takes a huge hit, because for the other dots on the list here, the SRO can do what a lot of them do for $200 to $300 cheaper, with a bigger window or the same size window, more dot options, better buttons, same windage adjustments, and sometimes better warranties. I think of the Seymour at this point. Bigger window, they both don't have shake awake, so that's a feature I would love to have in them. This is the RTS2 I'm discussing. As far as battery life and the dot quality and the glass clarity, at this point in my red dot life, I can't ever see myself buying an SRO again, because they are $550 what I can find right now online at the time of shooting this video. So it gets a 3 out of 10 on that, with a grand total of 83 out of 110 points. That puts our Trijicon SRO in 7th place. Next on the list is the Gideon Omega. The glass clarity and tint, or the coating on this, was fantastic. We could not tell a difference really between shooting the SRO, looking through that, or looking through the Gideon Omega. I mean, was practically blown away at the quality of the glass on this. The reticle and the options on this aren't that great. It doesn't have as many brightness settings. It comes with the 1 dot and that's it. It's gonna get a 6 out of 10 on the reticle. Gideon did an amazing job on the glass and the coating on this. They knocked it out of the park. They get a 9 out of 10. The dot clarity. I would say the dot clarity is on par with the SRO. That's kind of where we were comparing it at. A high level optic. It does get some starbursts and some flares at really, really high brightness settings when it's not really bright outside. But if it's really bright, noon sunlight, and you're outside, that super high brightness, it looks crisp and clean. And when you go to the lower dot settings, it looks great. Better than an average dot. It's getting an 8 out of 10. Durability, which we really mean warranty here, because we're not, I can only stress this enough, we are not basically torture testing any of these to say, oh, well, this one lasted longer. We're just going off of the warranty for the most part. And this is where Gideon just kills everybody else. It is a full lifetime warranty that replaces your sight if it stops working for any reason except for intentional damage. So if they know you're beating it with a hammer on purpose, you're running it over on YouTube with a truck to see how long it lasts, no, they're not gonna replace your dot for you. But if you drop it on accident and you send it back to them and say, hey, I dropped it, the electronics, the illumination's not working anymore, I don't know what's going on, they'll replace it for free for life. 10 out of 10, their warranty is better than basically anybody else. Window size. This thing has 0.933 square inches on the window, which just puts it in the top 4. There's only 3 other dots on this list that we had that had a bigger window. At that point, when you're in the top 4, we're giving you a 10 out of 10. You're above the SRO, you're getting a 10 out of 10. Battery life and location, I mean, similar, the 30 to 50,000 hours, depending on what brightness setting you have. You can change the battery easily with tools you would have on the range, and you don't have to take the dot off. It gets 8 out of 10. The overall size on this for like co-witnessing, it is taller than most of the other dots on here. There are a few that are slightly smaller, but not by much. Barely above average, so it's gonna get a 6 out of 10. The buttons on this were okay. Little mushy. You can see them easily. You know what you're adjusting. You can kind of feel with your finger what you're doing. There are worse ones out there, but there was room for improvement in my opinion. It gets 7 out of 10 on the button quality. Windage and elevation adjustment was not great. Small tool, it wasn't very tactile. If that's where they're gonna fall short on this, I'm okay with that, but they're still only getting 5 out of 10 on the windage and elevation adjustments on the dot. Mounting, the footprint, any issues doing it? 0. I love RMR mounts or footprints. It works great, easy to mount, easy to put on, fits a lot of different pistols because of that. 9 out of 10. Price and the value is where this thing is awesome. Besides its warranty, you can pick this up, what I could find while filming this video, brand new, for $189. $189 optic that has a dot quality and clarity like an SRO, has glass like an SRO, has a bigger window than an SRO, and a warranty on paper that beats basically anything. It gets 8 out of 10 for its value. With a grand total of 86 points out of 110, the Gideon Omega comes in at number 6 on our list. Okay, so even with 110 points possible in all these categories, we had 3 dots that scored the exact same amount. And we're just gonna kind of go at them all at once. So you could call this 5th, 4th, and 3rd place, I guess, but all would be considered 3rd place. I don't really know how that would work, but they basically all fit the same range toy, competition dot. I wouldn't consider any of these that we're displaying right now or going over as to be a duty dot. These are all for range toys or competition. I mean, even a home defense dot would work, because if you're not using it a whole lot and beating it up and you have it sitting in a safe and you need it for home defense, it would probably work just fine. Especially with some of the durability that other people do on these things that test, like torture tests. So first one on the list, we're just gonna go with the SwampFox Justice. SwampFox Justice on the glass clarity tint coating wasn't as good as all of the others. It's definitely better than some budget dots you can get on Amazon or just pick up off-brand junk. For the price point of these, I expect this is what the glass clarity would be, but it's gonna get a 7 out of 10 because it's above average, but still below the other competition dots on the clarity. Reticle and options, multi-reticle system, a lot of brightness settings. It does have the shake awake, so it's going to get a 9 out of 10 because it fits everything I like for a dot to have in competition for a reticle. Dot clarity on this is better than average, but not as good as some of the other ones we've tested already. When you go up to higher brightness settings, you really do start to get like a halo or starburst effect on it, which again, diminishes significantly in super bright light, but the clarity isn't as good as others, so it's getting a 7 out of 10. The warranty, durability part of it, this comes with a 10-year coverage of the illumination electronics coverage, which I think is pretty great, especially in this price range. The rest of the parts, like the housing, the glass, non-electronics, or the LED emitter, those come with a lifetime warranty. It's something we see similar to other dots where they're covering like the housing and the glass with a lifetime warranty, but the electronics and the emitter, they get 10 years. So for durability, it gets an 8 out of 10. Window size. Like I said with the Gideon, this one is also just slightly below the Gideon on window size with a 0.921 square inches, bigger than the SRO. It's gonna get a 10 out of 10 on window size. Battery location and life, just like pretty much a lot of these, easy to change the battery, don't have to take the dot off, gets 8 out of 10. The overall like height, co-witness ability to do with this, it's a little taller than some of the others, so it's not as easy to co-witness with it, 6 out of 10. The buttons on the Justice are tactile, easy to push, you know what you're doing, great click to them, you don't have to smash them. The buttons were the best on the Justice. That's all I can say, is that such a minor thing, so I don't know how much you would want to weight that, but it gets 10 out of 10 because the buttons were fantastic, easy to adjust, easy to know what you're doing, and they don't get in the way of the emitter like the Delta Point Pro. 10 out of 10. Windage and elevation adjustment on this were pretty low on quality. Special tool, sometimes it just spins, it doesn't really give a great click, it's mushy. I didn't like it, 5 out of 10. Mounting footprint, how easy is this to do it? Any issues mounting it? No issues, doesn't overhang on the breech, works great, RMR cut, 9 out of 10. Price and value, these guys nailed it. I know there's a lot of you that go, oh, but it's a Chinese optic, I don't want to use it, it's junk. Well, guess what? A lot of these optics that we've used for years, like Holosun, people have been saying that for a long time. I've never had a problem with it. The SwampFox has had a lot of rounds through it. It just keeps working. It holds zero, it works great, and for $178 brand new, yeah, 10 out of 10. With an overall score of 89 out of 110, this one is tied with the next two dots in 5th, 4th, 3rd place, whatever you want to call it. Now up is the Holosun 507 comp. After I tried one, I sold all of my SROs and replaced them with the 507 comp. I actually made a little bit of a profit doing that. Win-win for me. With the features it has, bigger window, I was sold right away, and I've been using them nonstop since then as my only competition pistol dot for center fire pistols. The glass clarity, tint, and coating, fantastic. Definitely rivals the SRO. 9 out of 10. The reticle options are where it's really cool. You can get this thing in so many different options. I'm not even going to discuss them here. Go look it up. 2 MOA dot to rings, like 4 different rings, whether you want to use the rings and the dot by itself. It's fantastic how many dot options they have. You can also get it in green or in red if your astigmatism works better, or if you can focus on a dot better in daylight with green or red, you are covered. 10 out of 10 on the reticle op. Dot clarity on this. Higher brightness settings, yes, you get a slight haze, little bit of starburst on it, but it is still a very crisp, very clear dot. And all settings when I adjust it, 9 out of 10 on the dot clarity. Durability, which is really warranty again, same thing as pretty much a lot of the dots. The competition higher end dots, I would call. Lifetime warranty on like the hard parts, your shell, your casing, whatever, your housing, your glass. Lifetime warranty. Electronics emitter, 10-year warranty. Window size, there are only 2 dots on this entire list that have a bigger window. This one comes in at 0.975 square inches. It gets 10 out of 10 points on the window size. Battery location and life, just like pretty much all the others. It lasts a really long time, has shake away, battery's easy to change, 8 out of 10 points. Co-witness ability with the height of the shelf itself, it actually sits pretty low. There are lowers out there, but not a lot. There's a lot of them that are much taller, so it's getting 8 out of 10. The buttons on this are okay. They're better than your average junk mushy button, but there's better buttons out there. And again, this one isn't necessarily a deal breaker. It gets 7 out of 10 on the buttons. Windage elevation adjustment. To be honest, it's definitely not the best quality for windage elevation adjustment. You use the little, like, kind of tool they give you. I have in my range bag, so it's not that big of a deal. But when I go to adjust it, it is not tactile. They are not good adjustment clicks. Like, I can't tell if it's 1 click or 2 or 1.5. I really can't tell what it's doing. Once you zero it, it stays zeroed very well. I haven't adjusted them in a year. But that initial setup, it was all kind of crappy. And sometimes, like, the windage one is actually really hard to get farther for me. So I don't know if that's how it came from the factory, or if I got maybe a little bit of a lemon on that, but it's on both of the ones I have, so I'm gonna chalk it up to it's kind of garbage. 5 out of 10 on windage and elevation adjustment. Mounting footprint, any issues? No. This thing comes with extra footprints. It comes with tons of screws. It's RMR mount footprint, super easy to mount, and it gives you a lot of options considering how many bags of screws they give for you. 10 out of 10 on the mounting footprint. Price and the value. Normally, before I did all of this testing with all of these different dots, I would have given this one a much higher score on the value section, but not anymore. Brand new for the green one, which is what I like, you're at $370. So the other ones we've been testing that are in like the $190 range, you're almost saving $200 going with them and getting a product that works basically is the same. The SwampFox Justice is a phenomenal dot for the price. So this one's gonna get 5 out of 10 points because I think it's average. I think this is what the price for a competition dot should probably be close to this. 370, 380. The fact that the SRO is over $500 is just ridiculous to me. So it gets 5 out of 10. The total score, again, these tied, 3 of them, 89 out of 110. This is in the 5th, 4th, 3rd place, whatever you want to call it. They're all tied. So the last one of the 3 ties is the Mecanik, which is, I guess, Canik's optic systems. It's the Mecanik MO3. This dot is fairly new for us testing, so we don't have a ton of rounds downrange, but we have a lot of dots that we were using that day and a lot of rounds shot, and so going back and forth between different dots to see which one we like. This video took so long to film. The glass clarity, tint, and coating are fantastic. I mean, obviously this was brand new out of the box that day, so it looks amazing. It gets 9 out of 10. Pulling options are okay. Nothing to write home about. It's above average dot brightness settings, it gets 7 out of 10. The dot clarity really blew us away on this one. Even at higher brightness settings, there was very, very low starburst, very low haze to it or any halo effects, switching from light to dark targets and fluorescent lighting or outdoors. It gets a 9 out of 10 on dot clarity. Very impressed by the dot clarity that they're able to get out of this. Durability, which would mean warranty, is a little lacking. Lifetime warranty only to the original purchaser, only, non-transferable. They make it very clear on that. It's a lifetime warranty on only, again, the housing, and that's it. This one doesn't even warranty the glass for life. The emitter, the electronics, and the glass are only 3 years. So for the warranty, it gets 7 out of 10. Window size. There's only one window that I found that was bigger than this on our testing bench of like 14, 15 dots. It gets a 10 out of 10 for the window size. It's 1.0 square inches. I mean, that's pretty significant size window on a competition dot. It looked great. Big window, dot stays centered through higher recoiled pistols perfectly. Like it, 10 out of 10. Battery location and life, just like a lot of these, just gonna go quick on this part, 8 out of 10, easy to do. Don't have to take the dot off. The buttons on it are above average, fairly tactile, not super mushy, not the greatest, but still decent, 7 out of 10. Windage elevation adjustment, it requires a tiny hex key, Allen key, whatever you want to call it. They're okay, not great when you have to find this tiny little tool, and I wasn't sure if it was fitting right even though it was in the box because there's like 3 different tools it comes with, and it wasn't super clicky, like it was a little mushy, hard to turn. It gets 5 out of 10. They could improve that, I feel like, a lot, but again, I don't know how much you want to weight that because you don't really adjust the windage and elevation a ton, but maybe you would after a couple thousand rounds, I don't know yet. Mounting footprint, it's arm mount. It didn't come with nearly as many screws as the Holosun does, but it's still great, easy to do, 9 out of 10. The value on this thing, the dot clarity, the window size, the glass clarity, it seems just too good to be true for $180. Like, wow. This is one of the reasons why the Holosun gets a 5 out of 10 on value now, where I would have scored it so much higher, but with dots like this coming out that are super clear, daylight, indoor light, great brightness settings, great dot quality, it gets a solid 10 out of 10 on the value aspect of this. With again, the grand total being 89 out of 110. This one is in the tie for 5th, 4th, or 3rd, whatever you want to call it. Our second place dot, which is wild to me. It's wild. I had never heard of this thing. I think it's just like an Amazon special. I don't even know. It's called the Zulisy Oak Plus. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get right into it. Glass tint and coating, fantastic. Reminded me a lot of the Mecanik. Mecanik's brand new. It just works. It's great clarity. No real tinting film or skew to it. 9 out of 10 on the glass clarity. The reticle and options, doesn't have a ton of options for it. It's above average with brightness settings. I kind of score these about the same because they fit in line with a lot of other dots. 7 out of 10 on the dot options. Dot clarity, blown away by the price of this thing. I don't know what's going on. Very little starburst at the highest settings. In bright sunlight, that disappears. Going from light to dark targets like the others, it looks great. It's unbelievable when you're comparing these dots side by side and you're picking up an SRO, you're picking up a Holosun, you're picking up all of these high-end dots that you've used for years, and you pick up this cheap thing and it's just as good. 9 out of 10 on the dot clarity. Durability and warranty. So this is the only one where I'm going to talk a little bit about durability. So Steve had bought the Zulisy Oak before this, not the Oak Plus, and it failed on him after a little under a year. But their warranty is they will repair or replace any Zulisy product in the event it becomes damaged or stops working at no charge to you for the life of it. Not just the housing, not just the glass, everything. If anything gets damaged, you send it off to them, they will repair it or send a brand new one to you at no cost to you for the life of it. That's pretty good. But he had one fail within a year. Now the Oak Plus is what he has now. It's their higher end model. Maybe it'll last longer. Who knows? But I'm still only going to give it 8 out of 10 even though it has an awesome warranty. Also, that warranty is fully transferable and there is no time frame on it at all. They make that very clear in writing. If it wasn't for one failing on the first year for him, could have been just a bad one, could have been an old production, I don't know. Man, that's a kick-ass warranty. Window size. It's bigger than the SRO and the Seymour, but smaller than the top 5. So it's going to get 9 out of 10. It comes in at 0.88 square inches. Battery location and life, just like all the others, it's easy. Guys, it's 8 out of 10. Overall size on this thing, like the height for co-witnessing, it's a pretty short deck. It's really easy to co-witness with this without having to have like almost like suppressor or specific co-witnessing sites. It's going to get 9 out of 10 on that. The buttons on it, above average, a little room for improvement. They're not as easy to click, get 7 out of 10. Windage and elevation, just like we're seeing with some of the like more affordable dots, the windage and elevation seems to use like some tiny little hex key or their own special tool, and they're just not tactile. That seems to be the hardest part for these budget dots to get down. It's not great, 5 out of 10. Mounting footprint, was it easy to mount? Yes. RMR, it's easy to do, comes with a decent set of screws, 9 out of 10. Price and the value, this one's insane. It is $135, brand new. It gets 10 out of 10 because it works so well for us. We've been using, or I haven't, but Steve's been using it for a long time now. I've shot a lot of rounds downrange with it. Floored at what you can get out of a dot that's only $135. Again, if you're not using it for EDC everyday carry and you're just using it either for competition or range toys, you can't go wrong with this. They've come a long way in inexpensive dots. This thing works so well. That gives it a total score of 90 out of 110, putting it in second place. And finally, our number 1 dot on the list for range toy competition dots is going to be the Cylee Bull Pro. I had never heard of this thing until like a little over a year ago when Steve got it for his Bull Armory SAS2 Air. He liked the fact that the names matched, and it's got a honking huge window. This thing is fantastic. The glass clarity coating tint on it is super clear. It works phenomenal. It gets a 9 out of 10. The reticle and options on it, I mean, you only get 1 dot option, but it does have a decent amount of brightness settings, which are better than some of the lower end ones. So it's gonna get a 7 out of 10 on the reticle options. Dot clarity, it is not as crisp as some of the other ones we've tested. Does get a little more starbursty when you go to the higher brightness settings. Again, in direct sunlight, when you're outside, that kind of disappears and you don't even notice it. But we did notice it switching from light backgrounds to darker backgrounds. It's still better than a vast majority of dots that you can buy, but it's gonna get an 8 out of 10 because it's not the best on this list. Durability. This is another one where we're gonna talk durability and warranty. I have seen these things be torture tested. The absolute massive shroud on this, it is solid aluminum. I've seen the drop testing that's been done on this thing, and it is rock solid. On the warranty side of things, they're gonna give you a lifetime warranty on the housing and all that stuff, but again, that's not the electronic and those components. They've basically said in their warranty that they'll decide if they're gonna warranty it, if they're looking at it and saying like, oh, you're hitting this with a hammer to see how tough it is maybe. I'm not sure how they determine that. I've never had to return anything to Cylee. I've never had to have anything warranted by them. They seem like they do have good customer support, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but because of how rock solid this thing is, and it's with that massive shroud it has, it's getting 10 out of 10 on the durability warranty. Window size on this is huge. It's like looking through the Grand Canyon. No one comes close to this window size. It's 1.387 square inches. Let's put that in perspective. The SRO that was considered like industry standard for competition shooting is 0.872 square inches. That's basically a half a square inch bigger. That's a lot when you're talking about things that are so tiny. Like something like this, to have an extra half a square inch in window size, it's massive. This thing gets 10 out of 10 on window size. It's the biggest one I've ever seen for a pistol. Battery location life, like the others, easy to do, you don't have to take that off, 8 out of 10. Overall size on co-witnessing, this thing actually rides pretty short on the deck. It works phenomenal, and you can co-witness fairly easy with it, 8 out of 10. The buttons on this are also very tactile, easy to use, easy to change brightness, turn off, turn on. It does still have shake awake. Also, it gets 8 out of 10. Windage and elevation adjustments, I was a little bummed on this one. Another small like little tool to do it. It gave you the tool, yes. It's not the easiest. It's not as tactile as I'd liked it to be. 5 out of 10. Mounting footprint, it's RMR. It's easy to mount. It doesn't cause any issues with hanging over and causing stovepipes because it's blocking them coming out of a 2011 or 1911. So it gets 9 out of 10 on the mounting footprint and no issues. The price and the value on this right now when I was filming this, I could find the Cylee Bull Pro for $250. If you're worried about buying like something like the Zulisy or the SwampFox, it's cheap, or somebody had bad issues or bad time with those, and you don't necessarily want to spend the higher amount on the Holosun 507 comp, you can get this one for about $100 cheaper at 250 bucks. It gets 9 out of 10 on the value for this because it's fantastic. Our number one dot gets 91 out of 110 points. It's gonna be hard for me to ever buy any other dots, I think, in the near future besides the Zulisy or the Cylee Bull Pro. I just think what I get out of the Cylee Bull Pro is just a lot of things I want. Now, it is a big window though, so maybe that's not what you want necessarily on your competition or range toy. I really like it. It makes that dot stay in the window really easy, especially if you're teaching new shooters where they can't find the dot, they're all over the place. Sometimes it's easier when that window's big and that recoil's hitting them and the dot doesn't fly out the top of the window. This thing's massive. The features on it are great. Warranty and the durability are great on it. Yeah, I mean, granted, these things are only getting separated by 1 or 2 points on this list, but that's how I feel about them. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a while since I've had a video. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the life, just the time. This isn't my full-time job, obviously, so whenever I can, I film videos, I do that, and then I come back here and edit them. I do have some more fun ones coming up, and hope you guys stay tuned for that. Bye. I was weird on that one, didn't I?